Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us. Thanks so much for spending part of your night with us. Those of you joining us, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, we appreciate you joining us, and those on audio as well. We hope you're all preparing for a beautiful 4th of July weekend, just as we are, and you're all going to be safe out there with your loved ones and your family, and we all have a great, safe weekend so we can meet back here on Monday. Let's get into some news before we start our weekend. What do you say? The golden age of Trump. The U.S. economy has added 147,000 jobs for the month of June, much higher than expected, I must say. Unemployment falling down to 4.1%. This is the golden age of President Trump, and it's just begun. To think that we're just 5 months and a few days into this new administration, and so much has gotten done, so much to be happy about, so much to look forward to with what he's doing, with what he's done so far. It gives us such high expectations, I think, for what's to come for the next almost 4 years, I guess you can say. Our good friend Tim Burchett was on with CNN last night and taking them to task, as he usually does. I found this clip so amusing, so I felt the need to brighten up our long weekend upcoming with sharing this clip with you.
Is very clear about how many people are going to be kicked off of health care until you were against the CBO.
No, ma'am. You listen. If you want to do the editorial, just go ahead, and you don't need me on here. But the
These
CBO,
are facts, sir. I don't have to editorialize.
Scores. I would like to see what the economic output of every bill. You, as a taxpayer, should want that too. And the CBO is the only organization we have. If I could allow a private accounting firm to do it, I would much rather that happen. But the reality is, it would have to be the CBO. And what do you have against knowing how much each bill is spent? Why is the media opposed to that? Why do you all on the left always fight every chance at America knowing what's going on? The problem y'all have with this bill, ma'am, is that it gets government out of our way and lets Americans make some decisions, and maybe hardworking Americans would have a better choice and a better shot at life in this country without you all just telling us how bad things are going and trying to construct, and as you're doing with me, trying to dictate what I've said. And the reality is the CBO is a partisan organization, and the reality is America has a right to know how much we're spending on every piece of legislation. I cannot believe you, as a member of the media, would not want open records, and that is exactly what that bill would do.
Sir, we have reported on what is in this bill. We do that time and again.
Ma'am, you all are trying to scare. Are you talking about the big, beautiful bill? You all just try to scare America by telling millions of people are going to be cut off this thing. You're talking about the people that are on it illegally, that are gaming the system, and that is. And
no, we're not. The CBO is very clear.
The bill does not do anything of what you've said, and all you've done is scare America, and you're not doing a service to this country, ma'am. And you all ought to start talking. You want to talk about transparency, and then there you are attacking me on a bill where I'm trying to make it transparent to how much we're spending on each piece of legislation. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
You wanted to have the CBO estimate, and you're now railing against CBO estimates. Because that is the only organization.
That is the only organization.
Those poor Marxists. Something's got to get through to those people. They are very, very sick people. Great on Congressman Tim Burchett. Absolutely brilliantly, always taking them to task whenever he's on with that network. Just before the vote for the big, beautiful bill last night, Hakeem Jeffries was on the House floor, and boy, were the Marxist Dems falling asleep. They picked a great speaker in him, I got to say.
Members of House Democratic leadership, thankful for the leaders of every single committee who's been battling hard to push back against the cruelty that is in this one big, ugly bill. Thankful for the leadership of Richie Neal. Thankful for the leadership of Frank Pallone. Thankful for the leadership of Brendan Boyle. Thankful for the leadership of Angie Craig. I'm thankful for the leadership, the principal leadership of every single member of the House Democratic Caucus.
That is absolutely brutal. As you can see, some of the Marxist Dems there taking a little bit of, I guess you can call it a catnap, not wanting to deal with him. In just a few moments, we're going to be joined by my good friend, the great Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen Reports. I want to get an idea of what Americans are saying, what you folks are all saying about your support for what was the big, beautiful bill and your support for Donald Trump and where it's at right now. We're going to take all that up with the great Mark Mitchell, lead pollster for Rasmussen Reports.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Mark Mitchell, it's been quite a while. Great day for you to join us. You're an American patriot, in my opinion, a veteran. Tomorrow, of course, being the day America, we'll say it changed America, I think, for the better, right? I want to get your sense right now, Mark, polling-wise, where America is at right now. What do Americans think? It's sort of been a quiet period, right? We went through a period where Elon Musk, there was this big fallout. Then you had bombing Iran, this, that, and the other thing. And now it's kind of quiet for a few days. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is going to be the summer, though. I think we're going to see this maybe all the way up until September. Everybody seems to be taking a breath. It's like the polling was all over the place, and it's just kind of like flattened out now, and I think we're going to coast. And that sucks for Democrats because they've just tried everything to come against Donald Trump. It really hasn't hurt his numbers at all. This was a tough presidency to predict, and, man, we walked into a whole hell of a lot of chaos. But, like, knock on wood, I don't see a lot of stuff happening in July and August. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think this bill is really going to matter that much. And if anything, it's kind of continuing to dig the Republicans' grave for them. I don't think that there's going to be a huge pickup for Trump when it passes, but his numbers are fine. He's got high right direction numbers. They haven't been able to tank his approval. I think he's still going to be at 50% plus 2 today. So that's exactly where he was in November. He's lost zero support.
Yeah, so I want to talk to you about that because it's mixed on both sides, right? Some Republicans heavily support this thing, like they've got all their eggs in the basket. You and I both were in Capitol Hill a few weeks ago, and we saw these people who are either vehemently for it. There's people who are squishy for it, and then there's people who are vehemently against it. How is this going to play out for those Republicans? I've made my position very clear, and I think yours is probably pretty similar, as we think pretty similarly. It's not perfect by no stretch of the imagination. We wanted more cutting, as we were promised. But what we're given, we're looking at right now, it's hard enough to pass this sort of moderate bill. What the heck can it be like to pass something with deeper cuts than we see now, more border funding than we see now, when you can't even get these rhinos, and not all of them are rhinos, but some of them are rhinos, and some of these hardline writers on the right side here?
It's a mess. Voters voted to have the table upturned, and it is not being upturned. We went down and walked the halls of Congress, and it just seemed like any old day at the office. It was nobody was breaking a sweat. Let's put it that way.
Well, I certainly was.
It was like 95 degrees out. Yeah. But, voters got squeezed during the Biden administration. Trump got elected. I mean, Trump is popular. His polling numbers, his job approval rating is now about to cross Obama first term. But that's not why he got elected. He got elected because people were desperate because Biden was horrifying. And so they trusted Republicans and Trump's numbers haven't tanked, but we'll have to wait and see what's happening to the Republicans. Like, in the good column for them is that Americans have seen Republicans under Trump spend a lot of money. So people are, quite frankly, kind of used to it. I hate to say that. Yeah. And then the other is we have a very recent massive spending bill of $1.7 trillion. And coming out of that, only 50% disapproved, 45% approved. It wasn't a massive outrage against it. and only 58% of Republicans strongly disapproved. So I don't think that there's going to be a lot of like negative attention, other than this was just a lost opportunity for the Republicans to buck up and change the way that DC works, but they're not going to do that. And the other thing is, I don't think that there's going to be huge upside either. If anything, Trump will get a moderate bounce for just getting stuff through. But we'll have to see, like, long term, how this affects America. I mean, $170 billion is a lot of freaking money to go after illegal aliens. And I mean, who knows how that's going to affect America? He's talking about redoing the 2020 census now. Like, these are massive, major things that might have impact. So I guess it's just going to be in the rearview mirror. And quite frankly, they're dumping it into a holiday weekend in the summer. It's not where you want to stick your biggest win.
Usually how it works. Well, I don't think it is the biggest win. I don't think President Trump is particularly fond of it, but he's said this before. He said it's not the best we can have, but it's the best we can get right now with the circumstances.
That's right.
What was the debt number on it? Was it like $2 trillion over 10 years or something like that?
I thought it was more than that, but I haven't been keeping up as closely as you have. I've been looking at the polling, and the polling's been all over the place. All I can say is that people like basically agree that this is going to do nothing to lower the debt. We asked, House Representative recently passed tax budget legislation package called the One Big Beautiful Bill. This is before it got kicked to the Senate. Will it reduce or increase national debt? 46% say increase, only 23% decrease. So this is not a spending reduction bill. This is continue to fund the government, get Trump some of what he wanted, and it's a whole mix of headlines. There's no big standout other than, wow, look, Congress signed something. That's the big headline, right? Like, what else is there?
So I was a little bit
good.
So the estimate from the CBO was initially 2.4. I was somewhere in the price range to $3 trillion. I think over the course of a certain amount of years for the budget. The way Trump is framing it and the Republicans are framing it is that it's going to create so much growth, it's going to create so much for the economy that it'll offset that number, which is very well possible, Mark. When you cut, and this is what the Democrats don't understand and what the hardline writers don't understand, is that when you cut taxes on corporations, Mark, they reinvest that money back into their company. It drives up shareholder equity, and so on and so forth. And it trickles down because a high percentage of people have 401ks or IRAs or some sort of investment in the market, some sort of tie into the market. I mean, if you think about it, really everything is tied. Your house price and interest rates and whatever is tied into the market. So that's the way they're framing it, and it makes perfect sense. It's just the Republicans are so damn stupid that they don't understand how to frame it that way, that Donald Trump is going to cut your taxes, and when you cut your taxes, you're going to put more money into the economy, and it's not going to be, you're not getting an extra $1 million a year. You're getting enough money to afford groceries. You're getting more money to afford maybe a vacation at the end of the year that you're dumping back into the economy. That's the way he's framing it, but the Republicans, like I said, are so dumb on messaging that they can't get it across that way.
They don't message at all. That's the problem, is individual representatives just say whatever the hell they want on TV. There's no force or intent behind, in my opinion, any of their positions. It's literally completely hurting cats, and that's why you have the problems rounding them up to get important votes, and that's why nothing is changing in Washington, D.C. I don't know. Like, I don't think we're in a position where there's any easy outs, and I understand the idea of trying to grow our way out of it, and obviously I think Trump is the best president that we could have right now to try to do that. But again, if he's going to be having 5+ million illegal immigrants self-deport and prevent many other people from coming in here, if he's going to continue to, I mean, I think the CBO said something like 20 trillion over 10 years or something like that. I mean, it was a big number. People have been saying we're going to be hitting 20 trillion more spending. At a certain point, like, we're not going to see lower long-term treasury yields. We're just not going to, right? So it's like you have higher rates, you have less people here, you have a huge housing run-up that's already way past everybody's ability to pay for from a mortgage perspective. Like, I think that we talked about it last night. I think housing is one of the potential soft targets here where things might crack, and that would be great. It has to happen, but it also sucks a ton of consumer spending out of the market. Everybody's home equity lines, they stop spending on that stuff. So there's just a lot of uncertainty. I think Trump's going to navigate it as best he can. But he's earned his support. I don't think people are going to go away unless there's absolutely horrifying economic pain. And it's just on the Republicans to try and convince people that they're worth voting for again in 26. And right now, the Democrats are doing a better job convincing people not to vote for them than Republicans are of convincing people to vote for them. That is,
I agree with you. That is until you get Hakeem Jeffries on the House floor talking. Anytime that man talks, it's like nails on a chalkboard. And so that's fine. Let them get their messaging out there that way. And, the Republicans always find a way to self-destruct. And you're right. We were talking about house prices last night. Lo and behold, Mark, I was kind of arguing with you about it because here in New York, you never see a house price decline. And as long as I've been alive, you've seen them on the rise. And lo and behold, I wake up and doing my morning read, and the Daily Mail had an article out this morning. Headline, ominous signs, house prices are poised to crash. A stunning number of homeowners are underwater. It's not just 1 in 6 U.S. home sellers today are likely to sell their property for less than they originally paid, up sharply from 4.4% a year ago, according to Redfin. In San Francisco, for instance, nearly 20% of sellers are at risk of losing money. Virtually no one sells in Providence, Rhode Island, so we won't see a loss over there. I didn't even know anybody lived in Providence, Rhode Island. But that's a bad sign, Mark. That's a really, really bad sign. People aren't keeping up with their mortgages. They're not keeping up with their credit cards. They're not keeping up on their car loans. And this is what we saw happen in 2008.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Case-Shillers, and they're like topping out. They've been like locked in flat for – well, Florida. I'm looking at the high growth areas. New York, you're right. New York just keeps going up and up and up. Look at that. But this chart doesn't look healthy. These Case-Shillers, everything literally starting in May and June of 2020 took a hockey stick curve upwards, surpassing the run up from 2003 to 2006. So that's hanging over our heads, and that could be a big problem, but we'll see. Again, I don't think people are going to blame Trump for that, and I think ultimately it would be better for our economy, but you got to admit the establishment's been pretty good at punting the can as far as it can down the road, and we've been putting off a lot of potential economic pain that just we haven't seen. I mean, everybody saw it with inflation.
It's really the inevitable. It's the inevitable too, right? You can make things look a certain way. You can fluff them per se a little bit to make them look a certain way. But at the end of the day, the facts are the facts and the truth are the truth. Debt doesn't go away unless you pay it. Case in point, it's going to stay on the books. And it's sad because this is Americans we're talking about. Mark, it's our neighbors, it's our friends, it's our family who are going to lose their homes and their businesses. But it's years of economic turmoil from previous administrations. When you have gas prices, Mark, up 70% on a family that's making, we'll say $70,000 a year, or $80,000 a year with a family of 3 kids in the Midwest, 70% raise in gas prices does have an impact when you have a husband who's a blue-collar worker who drives 30, 40 miles to work every day, right? Egg prices do become an issue when they're raised 70% when you have a blue-collar family that's making $70,000 a year on 4 kids. Okay, so it just goes further down the list. Clothing, whatever, school supplies, necessities that people need. And we see now that an overwhelming majority of Americans are putting their necessities, home electric bills, gas on credit cards. Yeah. I don't think that's something we've ever seen before.
Groceries. Yeah, go to Walmart and finance your steaks. Yeah, it's wild. It's all under Biden. It's the Biden economy. And there needs to be – and listen, I don't mean to be dooming about this. I think here's my hypothesis is that the major economic reordering focused on the lower and middle classes rebalancing our economy will look like an economic implosion, but will be better for our country. Yeah. And I think that people at the top, the people that have reaped sort of the cream of the last 20 years are going to get squeezed in hopefully new ways. But I sound like a flaming socialist economic populist. But, some of the things that Bernie says are awfully close to the things that you see out of J.D. Vance. It's just a disagreement about how we get there.
Yeah. It's funny that moderates are so far aligned from far leftist and far rightist, whereas far leftists and far rightist are aligned on certain things. And it's things like things like this. It's things like foreign policy. That's always been one that's been so damn strange to me. It's like, how does Bernie Sanders and J.D. Vance or whoever it is, agree on foreign policy? Like, sort of interesting, but this is one of the things. And Donald Trump is the blue collar president, and he's got to relay that. But I think he's done a good job at it. As you said, this is not something that'll fall on Donald Trump because it's from the last 4 years, and quite honestly, longer than that. Obama, Biden have thrown crap in Donald Trump's lap, both administrations, and it's not good for the American people.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Let's talk about, speaking of spending money, USAID, which is one of your favorite organizations. What I'm told is they fund Rasmussen to a tune of like $1 trillion a year.
A lot of money. It's not obviously that much. A lot. You get paid so much.
I've got bad news. That slush fund is drying up. George Bush is out there with a rock star Bono and Obama slamming Donald Trump for gutting that slush fund and sending employees packing. Mark, can you imagine?
Yeah.
The man who got us into this mess, both of them.
Yeah, I feel sorry for George W. Bush. What a horrible presidency. He left with some of the worst approval numbers I think we've ever seen. But, I kind of heard somebody, I forget who, explained to me, like, the reason why that he's so anti-Trump is that he came in and listen, all the presidents always have people surrounding them, and their interests and what they whisper in their ear often becomes policy and people decisions. And I think with George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, I think we could probably, surmise that certain forces wanted Dick Cheney to be attached to this guy. And he came in with a really strong domestic policy agenda of things that he wanted to get done. And his entire presidency became about invading the Middle East. And it was a horrifying decision for our country. It's absolutely cataclysmal. We'd have $27 trillion in debt instead of $37 trillion, and a lot fewer dead American service members and a lot fewer dead Iraqis. And it was a complete blow to America's strength overseas from a position of foreign policy strength. And I can imagine that he goes to bed at night saying, wow, this stuff that Trump's doing could have been me. Like, I could have stopped this. I could have whatever. And sorry, dude, the history is not going to look kindly at you. And going out there and virtue signaling like this about USAID is not. I mean, Americans say, no, we spend too much on foreign aid. Like, even if you take fraud out of it, like after USAID, we asked and people said they're angry at the level of waste, fraud, and abuse being uncovered, like 70 to 20 something. But 57 to, I think, like not even 20% say that we spend too much as opposed to not enough on foreign aid. So, like, bye, see ya. Americans don't care about the starving children in Africa anymore when they can't feed their own kids.
Exactly. I think there's a lot worse things that keep George Bush up at night. I'm not going to speculate, but I'm just going to go out on the whim that there are. It's sad. The thing I think about when you say that, Mark, is George Bush. George Bush actually ran, like you said, on a good policy. He ran on building a border wall. Do you remember that? The border wall we got from George Bush was shipping containers with barbed wire on top. Some of them, I think, still sit there. Donald Trump called them out for it. But to me, it's nice to look back and see what we were promised and what we got. I think you're a big meme guy. There's like a meme for that, like what I was promised and what I got. And it was far different. And I understand why. I don't think actually Bill Clinton hates Donald Trump. I think he actually likes Donald Trump because I think Bill Clinton hates Hillary Clinton. Whatever. It's one of my conspiracies, I believe. I don't think Bill Clinton hates Trump. I think George Bush hates Trump. I think Obama hates Trump. And I think Biden hates Trump is because he did all the things that these guys have promised for years. And a politician I worked for, Mark, when I was young, once told me, do you know why the Democrats, the people in the projects always vote Democrats? I said, why? Because they promise them and promise them and promise them that they're going to give them X, Y, and Z. And if you keep promising, they're going to keep waiting. And the reason why the Republicans are so bad at messaging on this is because if Republicans give them, they'll understand and they will never vote Democrat again. And guess what Donald Trump was able to do? Exactly that. He's the only president in my lifetime, probably in your lifetime too, who's ever been able to resonate with people who are in poverty, people who are in the projects, people who are living in squalor, because they understand now what's been done to them for the last 50 years by Democrats.
I mean, we have black approval ratings hovering around 40% right now.
Beautiful.
And obviously, we have to see if that's dialed in and accurate, but that's astoundingly new. And Hispanic voters on almost everything poll to the right of white voters now. There really is a very strong core of luxury belief swilling white boomer leftists in the suburbs. Like that is the core demographic of the left right now. You know, they have the young socialists as well. Basically, people who read the New York Times. That is the core left right now.
Dare I say the R word? There's an old meme, never go full retarded. And I feel like white people right now, Mark, are at that point where it's like looking at some of these exit polling numbers from Zohan Mamdani, the highest level of votes he got were from whites and Asians. And I sit there and I think to myself, like, what is wrong? And you look at where the Hispanic vote went and you look at where the black vote went and you're like, what are these people seeing that the white people are just not getting through their damn heads?
I mean, self-hatred, weaponized empathy, weak will. I mean, we talked about it at length, but I'll tell you, I mean, check this number out. Only 67% of white Americans strongly agree that it's okay to be white. So there's 33, one third of white Americans are like, oh, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I don't know where we're going in society. It's insane. Speaking of presidents who hate Donald Trump, Joe Biden complaining to the Wall Street Journal this week that he worked so damn hard on my accomplishments, and now Trump is undoing all of them. What accomplishments do you think perhaps he's talking about? He mentioned NATO. I'm not sure what he mentioned about NATO because Donald Trump's been in office less than 6 months, and he's already got NATO to commit to 5% GDP over the next 5-10 years.
I mean, there's the invasion of the southern border that Americans rightly call an invasion. I guess there's that. There's the massive spike in corporate profits that, ran up. There's, I guess, their own huge spending deal that had all kinds of like slush fund gimmies to every leftist interest group on earth. I guess those are the things. But I mean, let's not try to pretend that Biden worked very hard. Didn't he have the most days off of any president, not even counting the days he called the 12 o'clock lid? I said that I would stop bashing him for that because he was probably going to get cancer infusions, but maybe not. I don't know. I wonder how his treatment's going right now, though.
The weird thing, that's weird because I see him now, Mark, more lively than he was in the White House. I don't think he wanted that job at the end of the day. I think he had to take it for obvious reasons to protect his family from all the crime that they committed. I think that's my speculation on why he needed that job, not wanted it. But you see him now out more lively, sitting on airplanes, reading books, engaging with people, I think perhaps better than we've ever seen him before. So I don't know what was happening in the office, but he certainly looks a lot better now than he did for the last 4 years, embarrassing the hell out of America.
Well, either he was really working hard at a stunning 4 to 6 hours a day, or they have him on new meds, or whatever meds they had him on, he's off. And so if it's some cocktail they had, that presidency mix or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, good. Maybe he's getting his second wind and they'll be able to beat this thing together. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't wish cancer on anybody. It's a terrible, terrible thing. And, I've lost a lot of close people to it. So I hope he gets better and, beats it and beats the odds. Speaking of presidents, for the last month, Donald Trump added 147. These are new economic numbers out today. 147,000 workers to the payrolls in June, according to the Department of Labor. Unemployment rate declined to 4.1%. This thing still seems to be humming, Mark. It's the strangest thing in the world, looking at what we just spoke about, housing and debt and everything and jobs, yet he's still, performing in the job markets.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Like, I don't believe the headline 4.1% number. They strip all these things out of it. And we've been testing, and I haven't done this month's unemployment yet, but we've routinely found numbers in the mid 8s with people under 40 having mid-teens, like really high unemployment rate numbers, which, again, one of the reasons that Trump got elected, because everybody tried to pretend that there wasn't a jobs crisis for the last 4 years, and there absolutely was. But the idea that, to me, that I find most stunning, and let me tell you, I thought after the Biden cancer stuff, you were totally going to shift to Fauci. So you threw me for a little bit of a loop. But yeah, we'll have to see. I think the biggest takeaway is that the BLS isn't lying to make the numbers look bad, to be honest with you. And so maybe that's a really good sign that we finally cracked down a little bit on the deep state.
You had mentioned Fauci. Let's talk to him before we wrap up. There's two things I want to get to quick. Fauci's one of them. I went Tucker Carlson the other day, making a very strange admission. I want to play the clip.
He got immunity. Why did he need immunity? Why did he need a pardon in advance?
What do you think the answer is?
I would be speculating, but I think he was vulnerable. I think he had a lot of liability on creating coronavirus. He was funding precisely that research at the Wuhan lab.
Yep.
And he was giving them the technology. He was giving them, he gave them not only the technology, the precise technology for developing that pathogen.
Fauci created the ouchie. He created the Wu flu, according to RFK Jr., and not mincing his words. That's why I love this man.
I thought we agreed to call it the Kung flu. I mean, again, we made a notorious name for ourselves polling all of this COVID stuff. One of the basically the only people challenging the government status quo. And people saw through all these lies way early. I mean, over a majority knew that this was leaked from Wuhan before the government even admitted it by years. I think we hit it in early 23 or late 22. I mean, everybody understood. But Fauci, it's a little bit tricky. There's something about a crisis and somebody stepping in and leading it that the government officials know. Like they flock to these things like ambulance chasers. They know that they'll get a pickup, and it's kind of been like his numbers are higher than you would expect based on how much people have been seeing through the COVID stuff. But I'll just they're still not good. I'll just rattle some of these off. Do you believe Fauci has told the truth about U.S. government funded gain of function research? This is from 2 years ago, so the numbers are probably 39% yes, 47% no. How likely is it U.S. officials were involved in a cover-up and China's role in the pandemic? 66 that say at least somewhat likely. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? China lied, Fauci lied, people died. 60% agree, only 32% disagree. And then not only that, before he left office is the pardon. Dr. Fauci was given a full and unconditional pardon for any crimes he may have committed back to 2014. Approve or disapprove, 43% approve, but 48% disapprove. So he's underwater 5 points. And a majority, 56 to 36, approved of stripping his security detail. So America is bit by bit turning on Fauci. And it's a long time coming. Like it was literally just in the last year or two because his numbers were really high. People like this guy for the first.
Yeah, I've met him many times, have him on the show many times back at Fox News. Not a likable person, totally arrogant little troll is what I could closest was thinking. Like a nutty doctor on a Cartoon Network sitcom.
Well, I think the sociopaths know that can read as like confident, empathy, right?
Yeah.
Like he could sell it, and I could see through it, but a lot of people couldn't.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were fooled in the beginning too. As soon as Lou figured out who this guy was, he said, "I don't want this guy anywhere." And it was long before anyone figured out who he was. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about something you've been polling on lately. And now all of a sudden, Harry Enton over at CNN is talking about it.
Andrew Cuomo, during the primary, attacked Mondani as being insufficiently pro-Israel. I'm not quite sure the former governor understood how much the politics have changed around this issue among Democrats. What are we talking about here? All right, who Democrats sympathize more with, Israelis or Palestinians? In 2017, the Democratic Party was a pro-Israeli party. Look at this. They sympathized with the Israelis by 13 points, more with the Israelis than the Palestinians. But look at this sea change. Now Democrats sympathize more with the Palestinians by 43 points. Oh my God, that is a change in the margin of 56 points over the course of just 8 years. So all of a sudden, it's the pro-Palestinian position that actually reigns supreme in Democratic politics, not the Israeli position. And that is part of the reason why Mondani was able to do so well in this primary, because those attacks over Israel, simply put, did not ring true for Democrats. They're now on the side of the Palestinians, not the Israelis.
I mean, this is a much bigger issue, specifically with Mondani, though. I mean, an outspoken critic of Israel. He's facing continued criticism, though, for not being outspoken enough against anti-Semitism, that is for sure. But on this, talk about Democrats and how broadly how this really is shifting.
Yeah. So, you see this among Democrats overall, right? But we know that Mondani's base was younger voters within the Democratic Party. And so I want to break it down
with younger Democrats.
Correct. So take a look here. Who age 18 to 49 Democrats sympathize more with, the Israelis or the Palestinians? Again, in 2017, younger Democrats sympathize more with the Israelis by 14 points. Look at this shift now. Palestinians, they sympathize more with the Palestinians by 57 points. That is an over 70-point shift in the margin in just a matter of 8 years. So the bottom line is, Mondani's base within the Democratic Party and the base of the Democratic Party of younger voters, younger Democrats, have changed tremendously on this issue in 8 years' time. I rarely ever see shifts like this, Kate, in which you see one side of the equation leading by 14 points 8 years ago, and then all of a sudden the other side of the equation leading by 57 points. The bottom line is the politics around the Israelis and the Palestinians have shifted tremendously among Democrats, and they've shifted specifically tremendously among Democrats who are under the age of 50, younger Democrats for Mondani's base, and also the...
So sort of interesting, Mark, because this is something you polled on long before. I think Quinnipiac polled on months ago about that shift in support for Palestine.
Yeah, and what's wild, and he knows this, is that it's all happened in the last 2 years. It's not, he referred to 2017 numbers. I guess that's what Quinnipiac had. We don't have the same tracking question going all the way back, but in the 2 years, we've seen Israel plus 30 compared to Palestine go down to plus 14. So that's a major implosion, and it was driven almost all by Democrats. But we have numbers just from literally the week after October 7th. And even back then, Democrats were much more pro-Israel. This is, it's not the same question, but which is closer to your opinion about the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians? The Palestinians are most to blame, or Israel is most to blame? And Democrats said Palestinians 40 to 14. So it's all literally the NPC download that they got and from their cable TV news network of choice or whatever influencers they're watching on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. They have become look at those numbers. It's literally Jew hating. That is what it has become. And again, it's kind of bizarre to see the party most likely to call their political opponent Hitler to have these kind of views. But I guess Jewish voters are going to have to make a choice somewhere along the lines, the one that haven't yet, because, and especially interesting to see how this plays out in New York City, which has a massive Jewish population. But it looks like, I don't know where this race is going to go, what's going to happen with Curtis Sliwa, what's going to happen with Eric Adams. But people are going to have to pile behind Eric Adams, but the lefties want this guy. He's like their new Obama, I think. I think they'd probably try and run him in 28.
Yeah. Yeah, if he was a U.S. citizen or born U.S. citizen.
When has that stopped us?
I promised the audience I was going to play this clip from them, and you probably never seen it before, but this is why I'm vehemently against Curtis Sliwa.
There's idolatry, Trump, it's the Mashiach. I hate Trump, and my partner Juliet hates Trump. Juliet Huddy. But there's no buts there.
That was back in 2019 before Donald Trump was running for re-election. So he hates Donald Trump. Well, guess what? I hate you.
Think about the time, though. When was that? That was late 2019. America was humming. America was on the path to recovery. America had put the impeachment hoaxes, the Russian collusion stuff all in the rearview mirror. It was entering a 2020 with improving job numbers, especially for Black Americans. The country was healing. Right direction was the highest it's ever been up until recently, just this year when Trump got reelected. So for him to sit there and say that against that context, he knew that. And a lot of people might forget. But that was literally, did that say December 2019?
December 2019, yes.
Yeah. What was going on in the background? A biological weapon was being released in China at that moment because of an ascendant Trump U.S.
Yes. Yep. Curtis should get that through his head. He's wondering why people are uniting behind Eric Adams. And I think Donald Trump probably ultimately makes an endorsement in the race, probably for Eric Adams. As far as I'm concerned, Eric Adams never said he hates Trump. He disagreed with him policy-wise, but he's helped him mightily, which is, I guess part of what's led to his downfall in New York, but it is what it is. Mark, I'm sorry we went overtime past what we've promised you. You've got to get to the beach with your kids. You get the last word here.
That would be interesting. I have to do a little bit more homework around New York. I really don't know what a Trump approval of Eric Adams as an independent running against a Muslim communist would do. Like, where are we at? This is the biggest political realignment. Again, who the hell knows? But it's going to be another interesting couple years. So if you want to come check out our polling and listen to us talk about it, Rasmussen_poll. Hope to have everybody there.
Now Mark is actually on audio as well. You can listen to his podcast on the road. Just go to Rumble, Apple. I'm so used to saying Rumble and YouTube. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get it. Rasmussen Reality Check. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
You can catch Mark there each and every episode. Mark Mitchell, have a great day. We appreciate you. Happy 4th of July. Have a great weekend.
Happy 4th. Go America.
Fuck yeah. Thanks to Mark Mitchell, folks, and thank you all for being with us today here on the Great America Show. We hope to see you back here on Monday for the Great America Show. We're going to give you the day off tomorrow. It's 4th of July. We want you to enjoy it with your friends, your family, your kids, your loved ones. We don't want you having to worry about showing up here at 6 p.m. Eastern time for the Great America Show. So we're going to give you the day off. You can catch us on the audio version. We'll be bringing you a midday update, 4th of July edition. But we hope to see you back here on Monday for the Great America Show, where our quest for truth, justice, and the American way continues, folks. Be safe out there this weekend. Be safe with the fireworks, and have a great, great weekend. See you back here Monday. Until then, may God bless you. May God bless America, and may God bless the great Lou Dobbs. Have a great night.